Welcome to the return of After the Polls, sponsored by Mutant Beaver Comics. I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, if you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, guys, you came to the right place, so why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button. So this is the video series where I cover all the newest comic books that came out for the week. Now, if you guys love the spin-off series Worthy Ones, that is released on Thursdays, where it just covers the issue 1 comic books. So I'll leave that link maybe up here or at the end of the video, whatever the case may be. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we go. Before we get started, I'm a little bummed out today. If you guys have watched my channel for a while, I'm a huge Miami Dolphin fan, and last night was such a letdown, and I'm just so bummed. So just bear with me if I'm a little bit down this morning. Hopefully this will change my mood and then get ready for the playoffs next week. But anyway, we are going to talk about Marvel Zombies Black, White, and Blood issue 4. I read this book actually digitally because there wasn't that many books this week, and I felt like, man, I needed some more books to cover on this particular episode. So in this one, it's got 3 different stories, right? This is basically just zombies, and it's affecting the Marvel world, okay? So that's what this is. It's an anthology book, all written by different writers. I'm not a huge fan of anthology books, but this one, for the most part, has been entertaining. Like I said, 3 different stories here. One is Strange Ass Bedfellows with a story about Blade and trying to save the human population in a way, but they're pretty much slaves to the vampires. The artwork looked pretty good in this one. It was all right. It wasn't my favorite story, but it wasn't the least favorite either. The next story in here was called The Last Man Standing, where it had to deal with the Punisher. Now, this was Frank Castle Punisher, the way we saw him in Jason Aaron's run. Okay, so that one was that one, for a lot of people, may not like that one either, but he's coming up with he finds a cure to save the people against the Marvel zombies, and yeah, you know, it was okay as well. For me, the best story here was Shayna of the Dead. This had Shayna in there with Kazar, however you say his name, and we basically get to see him get bit by a zombie, and he's changing into a zombie, and Shayna is forced to leave with her son, and it was very emotional because her son winds up going through, the loss of his father, and it was just an emotional gut punch. So out of those 3 stories, I would say that Shayna of the Dead was basically the best one here. And if you like, the red, white, and blood stuff, if you like zombie books, this is something to pick up. If you need to save money and save it somewhere else, I totally understand that. As an overall grade for this comic, though, I'm going to give it a C+. If there was one more really good story in here, I would have given it a higher grade, but really only Shayna of the Dead was the one worth reading. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain, issue 3. This book is a 32-page comic for $4. It's written by Robert Venditti, and the artist is done by Gavin Goldtree. Now, I at the shop for some reason bought issue 2 again, and I forgot to buy issue 3. So this is another one of the books where I had to actually read digitally so I could cover it here on After the Poll. Superman 78 has been basically a really nice surprise. For some reason, I didn't read the first volume here, but I am a fan of Robert Venditti's writing, and here there's a lot more story for the first time in the comic book. Last one was lots of action. The first issue wasn't that much to read, and that was my problem with it. And here it really kind of dives into the story of basically, where the kryptonite came from, how they build the suit, Superman recovering from all his injuries after his battle between Metallo. He's going to Lois Lane for answers. Just an overall a really good issue. There was one really good scene here where we had Clark or Superman actually confront Lois's dad, and he knows he wants to marry her, and it was kind of like a little bit of an awkward moment there, but that was really a great emotional moment, and that's something I felt like this comic book really needed, and it also really does capture that that vibe of Christopher Reeves from, you know, the original days of Superman, and that's obviously what you want in a Superman 78 series. So at the end of the day, I'm going to grade this book an A. Really fun read here. It took a break from the action, but that's okay. Hopefully things will pick up when it comes to the action. Overall, really fun series. Definitely worth the pickup. Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy Issue 5. This is the conclusion to this series, and it might be a conclusion to Silver Surfer in general for a little while. So was this book worth it? Well, this one is a 28-page comic for $4, one of the few Marvel comics that I've left at the $4 price point. This one's written by Ron Martz. The pencils are done by Ron Lim. The artwork is great, man. Again, if you read Silver Surfer back in the 90s, if you even read the last volume of Silver Surfer, you're going to expect basically the exact same thing. Now, in this series, the last one, we got introduced to what, Eve Warlock. Well, she definitely makes her return in this comic here, and I feel like the reason why she was created was so she can take on Mephisto. That's what you see in this comic, and why she hasn't existed in the Marvel Universe until now is pretty much it's the reason why you read this comic, right? You find out where she went to and why she hasn't existed all this time. So it's like that long lost, you know, story of Silver Surfer in this moment in time where this character existed for a brief, minuscule moment. That's basically what this is. The fight against Mephisto and Silver Surfer were fun. It's just overall a good comic book that reminds you of a simpler time when it came to Marvel Comics. If you're a Silver Surfer fan, this is something that you're going to want to pick up. It's nothing more than a fight between two enemies, right, against each other. It's all right. It's good. It's fine for what it is. Overall, I'm going to give this one a B. And if you've read it all this time, well, you might as well just finish it off. Alright, so before we continue on, guys, I just gotta give a quick shout out to Mutant Beaver Comics. Mutant Beaver Comics is a global leader in exclusive variants with over 4,000 listings in their store. They ship worldwide on a daily basis, and don't forget, they offer that top-notch customer service. If you guys use my promo code CORNER10, not only can you save 10% off of your first purchase, but every other purchase after that. They're having a huge sale right now, so go ahead, don't forget, check out mutantbeavercomics.com. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 41, The Gang War continues. This is legacy numbering 935, 28 pages, $5. And this one is written by Zeb Wells. The penciler here is John Romita Jr. And this continues, of course, like I said already, the Gang War. Obviously, you know what to expect when it comes to John Romita Jr.'s artwork. You know, in some instances, it's okay. In other instances, when it comes to, like, action scenes and battling scenes, it's just, I don't know. It's okay. There's some weird, awkward fight, I feel like, between Tombstone and Wilson Fisk in this book. They're just like headbutting each other for like a whole page. It's just so awkward. Tombstone gets kneed in the balls or something like that. It's just so awkward. Weird fight here. So what was this comic about? Well, this one is basically the fathers going against each other. They realize that their kids are at war. The Rose is wind up trying to take over Turf, and he's battling Janice, and they're trying to, talk to each other to call off each thing, and it just is not working out. And basically what happens is it becomes this big, huge brawl, and you get to see this brawl between Tombstone and Kingpin, and then you get to see the next generation of the Gang War leaders. Like, you wind up seeing the Rose, and you wind up seeing Janice and her Sinister Six do battle against all these people. It was okay. It was an action-packed issue, but I felt like it didn't really do anything to progress the story. And I don't get why Janice has to change her Beetle costume to make it look more like intimidating against the other like gang leaders or whatnot. It was just kind of there. And then at the end, you're led to believe that maybe Janice and her people wind up getting killed because Kingpin walks away and says it's done. it was an okay issue. This is a okay event. This book worked a lot better in that introductory book, The First Strike, as you felt real character emotion and you felt for Janice as she possibly lost her father, how she possibly had to kill Randy. There felt like there were stakes there. And here it just doesn't feel like anything. It's just this big brawl, right? But it's still an entertaining book, and you do want to see where it goes and how things shake up and how the turf is distributed amongst the leaders by the time you wind up getting to the end of this thing and all those ramifications. So I think at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one a B-. Not as strong as it was when it kicked off. We'll see if it proves itself to go up or if it actually continues to go down. Batman issue 141. This is a 40-page comic for $5. Legacy numbering 906. Titled Mind Bomb Part 3. Writer Chip Zdarsky. Jorge Jimenez does the artwork in this comic book. The artwork is great, guys. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. I really love Jimenez's artwork, and it's just like the action scenes in here were really cool. Seeing Failsafe again, possessed by Ben Zur-R or Batman Zur-R-Law. What is his name? Zur-R. I can never remember it. Was just really awesome. And it reminded me of the opening story arc, right? Where we get to see Batman's back against the wall, trying to survive against the robot. But now it's more intelligent because it's got this mind inside of a robot. So it's really awesome to see that cat and mouse type of game. And coupled again with that artwork, it makes for a very interesting story. And again, this is the conclusion to this particular story. And after a huge cat and mouse game, after lots of fighting and battling and Batman saying, oh, what would I do in this instance? You know, he winds up getting captured. He winds up getting thrown in jail, and he winds up getting thrown in jail with the Joker here. And in the next story arc, it looks like these two are stuck in jail with each other, and we're going to get the Joker Year 1 story. So I think that could be really interesting here. But for me, this was one of the best Batman stories that I read since the opening arc. And we were waiting for Failsafe to come back. He wound up coming back in a superior fashion, which I really enjoyed that. And I love how Batman tried to like upgrade his equipment as fast as he could to try to take on the robot, but he just failed. And I like when the heroes fail, especially Batman, because he couldn't outsmart himself here. So really great stuff. There's a really cool backup story here also. I'm going to give this book an A+. I really enjoyed this one. Much better than what Batman has been in the past, few issues. Sometimes, writers go up and down when it comes to series. I know people have been harping on Chip Zdarsky, but hopefully he has it continues to go up and it stays on a consistent path for 2024. So there you have it, guys. That's it. There's not that many books that I didn't read besides the new issue 1. So, talking about those new issue 1s, I'll leave you the video right here to click on. It's Worthy Ones. Was it worthy? Was it not worthy? It's a fun series to check out. And next week's episode is probably going to be a lot larger. There are a ton of books coming out. I think I have like 20 books on the pull list. So stay tuned for that. Will I cover them all? I guess it just depends if I get them all read or not. So as always, guys, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting. Guys, always remember to read the comics. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that the dang Dolphins can win a freaking game next week in Kansas City. All that attention going to freaking Taylor Swift and shit, but we'll see. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.